Well, we're going to talk about my favorite and our favorite THC isomer, Delta-8. So my story comes from the marijuana moment. It's entitled Nebraska Attorney General Files Lawsuits Over Delta-8 Products on Store Shelves. And the quote, I don't know if this is a quote from the governor or a quote from somebody in state, but the quote in the article is, "We know Delta-8 is a bad chemical. It's a bad drug and it hurts people." Close quotes. Oh, I don't know where they're getting that information from, but anyway, pointing to what he called mislabeled and dangerous THC containing products made to look like nerds, Fritos, and other child enticing treats, Nebraska's Attorney General on Wednesday announced an unprecedented action to protect consumers. The accumulation of a month-long investigation, attorney Mike Ogers, who's a Republican, by the way, said his office has filed lawsuits against retailers in at least 10 counties across the state alleging violations of consumer protection and deceptive trade practices. His focus is on Delta-8 products. And he says the lawsuit filed Wednesday are separate from any pending criminal investigations by area law enforcement agencies. I'm sorry. In 2018, the Farm Bill opened up the hemp industry nationally, putting a legal limit on Delta 9 THC, but not addressing regulation of Delta 8. States have been grappling with this loophole. And then they show an image of the Nebraska Attorney General's tweet on X, and it says, "Today, our office launched a major statewide action against retailers selling mislabeled and deceptive THC containing products that present dangers to Nebraskans." Of 100 items that were tested during the probe by the Attorney General's office, Hilger said about 15% were inaccurately labeled or labeled that were clearly labeled for ingredients and potency. The synthetic process by which Delta-8 is manufactured can inject harmful solvents, heightening his alarm. "It's a Russian roulette that Nebraskans are losing," said Hilgers. At least one of the proprietors who is targeted, however, criticized the Attorney General's action as a political stunt aimed at instilling fear in Nebraskans. The Attorney General is saying we are misleading. We are not, said Kim Rockwell, owner of vape shops in Lincoln and Keith counties that are being sued. He said he was blindsided by the accusations, which he first heard about Wednesday from reporters, and stands on his operations and stands by his operation as being legal. Another shop owner noted that a retailer she gets cannabis product from large vendors that come with a certificate of analysis. In the state's testing showed that the discrepancy with Tracy Wild Smith of Greenhouse Grandmas in Dog County, by all means, it shall be taken off the shelf. So they're saying if it doesn't meet the COA, they'd take it off the shelf. However, Wild Smith said she also was unaware of the state's worries, and as of Wednesday evening, hadn't even gotten any notice of any legal action. The lawsuits, among other things, alleged that the business model targeted shops including Grandma's Greenhouse to entice, ultimately ensnare Nebraska's most vulnerable consumers, teenagers and children. The Attorney General contends that the maximum financial gains of the retailers misled the public about the dangers of their THC containing product. During the news conference, Hilgard shows pictures of brand name products such as Fritos and Nerds alongside products containing THC. As part of the action, the state has sent letters to the companies of Frito-Lay and Ferrera Candies who own those trademarks. We presume that without your knowledge or license or intellectual property rights are being infringed here in Nebraska, one letter said. Letters signed by Hilgers also invoked the upcoming Halloween trick-or-treating custom, saying that real candy undoubtedly will be the popular choice and it should be protected. Real candy should be protected. Do they know how much diabetes is in this country? Forget, sorry. Um, the Attorney General also had issued consumer protection warnings to help educate parents, teachers, and families about the dangers of these products. Calls to other dispensaries targeted by the office were not immediately answered. A manager of Chasing Clouds Vape in Columbus, for example, referred a reporter to a owner in Norfolk, and calls there went unanswered. A person answering the phone at the cannabis factory in Lincoln, the store, said that the store is not commenting on the reporter's pending investigation. It goes on and talks to a couple other shop owners. I did a little homework, and what I found is that they don't even have medical in Nebraska. They have nothing. Cannabis is completely illegal. So this is just all, again, vape shops that are selling hemp-derived cannabinoids that are crossing state lines. But if you smoke a joint of real cannabis on the corner outside one of these stores, you'll get arrested for smoking cannabis. I think they've actually reduced it down to civil infractions in most major populated areas of Nebraska. But there is an organization called Nebraska's for Medical Marijuana. So there is sort of a movement in the state pushing this thing forward. But this is, again, the state coming after these Delta-8 and hemp-derived psychoactive cannabinoids that are coming into the state. I'd like to hear what everyone else has to think. That's my story for today. Dr. Mark from the shores here of Lake Champlain in the beautiful state of Vermont. Love to hear what you guys have to say.
Open up the market. Get these people
Nebraska's
access.
fervently against
Yeah.
all this legalization, medical and otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Nebraska is a nasty, nasty place
And
to
the
get caught with weed at.
Dakotas.
Yes.
Oh,
I
both
feel
both Nebraska and Kansas, which neighbor
Yeah.
Colorado, I think actually set up stings just
Missouri.
over the
Yeah.
state line because they know that cars with East Coast plates should be pulled over because most likely they're bringing contraband from Colorado through their non-legal state. Dale, and I
For
think
cash.
wasn't there not a federal case, but I thought that I thought Kansas or one of Colorado's neighboring states was trying to sue Colorado
Yeah,
over
that
their
was that was
their
that was a
program.
while ago. I remember that. Yes, yes.
Two states were trying to sue Colorado.
Yep,
Yes. And that,
yep.
yeah. I think it was Kansas and Nebraska, actually.
It was Kansas and
Yeah.
Nebraska.
Right.
Yes. Yep. They wanted.
stashed in the corn.
Yeah. Well, not to mention too, Dr. Mark. A lot of Colorado plates are profiled when they cross into Nebraska or to Kansas as well, just automatically assuming that they are going to have contraband inside the vehicle.
Well,
That was the
sometimes
case
they,
long
they, they
before
put a
cannabis
fake
was made
sign on the.
legal.
Yeah.
Sometime I heard that they put a fake sign on the interstate there, I-70, saying that there's a checkpoint coming up, and so the exit just before the checkpoint. That's where the cops are, right? So they see all these people pulling over at that exit because they need to readjust their
Oh, that's
shift
a
for the
good. That's a
checkpoint.
good. I like that. That's a good one. I'm not mad at that. I'm not
Well, the
mad at
people
that.
who get busted that way don't like that at all.
Oh man, I'm just saying. It's, you got to get creative nowadays, and that's
Because
that's
you
pretty
can't hate
creative for
the
them. Yeah.
player,
Yeah.
hate the
Exactly.
game.
Exactly. Don't hate the player, hate
Well,
the
and
game.
and
Exactly.
and
Yeah,
what I can tell you because I
I
actually
just feel
know
like
some
Texas is
farmers
like,
out there is that I believe Nebraska and Kansas still has feral hemp growing like in ditches and
wow.
in the sides of
Absolutely.
roads because when hemp was being grown for the war effort around
Yeah.
1943 and
Yep.
1944,
Mm-hmm.
those seeds just sort of went to the wind. And so there is still feral hemp. And those are the two states where you find it, Nebraska and Kansas.
Interesting. You call it feral
And the
hemp.
Dakotas.
Interesting. You call it feral hemp.
What would you call it?
I just call it hemp. You know what I mean? Just natural, organic hemp, just living off the land. You know, like maybe Davy
Wow.
Jones, maybe Davy Jones hemp, something like that. You know?
There you go. It's a scab.
Johnny
It's a
Appleseed hemp.
scab. Sucking off the teat of America. Is that what's going on, Jason?
No, it's actually cleaning the soil and remediating all the farmland, everything, all of that stuff, Rico.
It's making America better.
It's working. It's working.
Tricking dumb teenagers.
It's a working plant.
Giving 'em-
Mm-hmm.
Hemp.
Hemp.
Make America great again.
That's
again.
right. And again.
But thank